Where's my intro? What? Where's our intro? Here we go. All right, folks, here we go. Yes, there's Lynn Miller. We're going to go live. Well, we are live. There's Tyler. Yes. Now, folks, I am warning people on this Monday night. We have to explain. We don't just barge in and start firing questions. You do not do that. Some people don't understand that. You sit, you watch, you absorb, and then maybe you add to the discussion. But what a very nice holiday weekend. No, it is not. Henry B and I are at odds, and I'll tell you why. Ms. Robin, I don't think sarcasm works. Is this live? Yes. I'm going to wait till a couple more people file in. We will be live with the Patriots. Thank you, Tyler. I try to. I am telling you, I've never encountered what a period of 2 weeks this has been. Thank you, Steve. Working nonstop. I can't get over the people that continue this narrative of saying don't talk about a story. Admittedly, it is I don't understand it. We're constantly dealing with it. There's Trisha. Hi there, Sue. All right, we're going to start in just a moment. There's Pamela. And before I leave, I'm just telling you, you don't have to apologize. I'm just telling you, I don't think the sarcasm works in this type of format. I think there's Nicole. I think a big part, as someone who's very sarcastic, a lot of it's on the delivery. I think it goes over the heads of a lot of people. Thank you, Nicole. We will in just a moment. As soon as we hit, no need to apologize, Henry B. Once again, at least demonstrating that I don't run that account, as some of these people claim. No, try to ignore them. I wish I could. I don't understand these people. I'm going to provide examples. There's two stories right now. Thank you, Nicole. There's two stories right now that this was a very violent weekend in, the Ocean State. And I don't understand the people that are saying, and they comment, don't talk about it. I'll admit, it's foreign to me. Look at that. She is 19. This is Crystal Davis. I will read all star senders before we sign off. Nija. She graduated from Shea High School. I posted, there was a really nice story about her when she was graduating that I found. I posted a link to it. It's on, you can see the website, depetro.com. And so I posted, it was a nice link. She was going to start at CCRI, and then she hoped to transfer to URI to go to nursing school. Saturday night, 19 years old, shot and killed. I want to, a lot of times I don't, but what's her name? Sharon Cesaro. I don't know if I'm pronouncing it correct. Sharon CESARO. Don't talk about it. Don't talk about it. You shouldn't talk about it if the family doesn't want you to talk about it. Let's talk about that for a moment, Sharon. Sharon. Well, if the family doesn't want it, John, respect their wishes. Let's talk about this. 19 years old. She was shot and killed on Saturday night. So what does that mean? There hasn't been an arrest. By the way, how about the mayor of Central Falls? She doesn't talk about the person responsible. This Mayor Rivera. Mayor Rivera doesn't say, we're going to find the person responsible and hold them. But nothing. Zero. You know what she says? Gun violence in Central Falls. So this young 19-year-old girl lost her life. There was a male shot. He's in very serious condition. So for this Sharon Cesaro, and she's not alone, by the way, is it lost on them that the person that did this is still out there on the loose? I am telling you, it is foreign to me. These people don't talk about it. Let's just humor me for a moment, folks. And the F-bombs are going to start flying. Can you imagine on Wednesday, National Guard shot 2 blocks from the White House. Fox News is live. Hi there, Chris. And all of a sudden, Fox News says, well, hold on a minute. We've just heard from the family of one of the National Guard's person. They don't want us to talk about the story. So we're going to cut the coverage. Folks, does that fucking make sense to anybody? Like, what is in their brain? A 9/11, you know? Imagine Fox News or anyone else. We've just heard from the families that had people aboard the American airline flight. Therefore, we're not going to show anything or talk about it. Like, what fucking planet are these people living on? As I have explained, the coverage is not Sharon Cesaro. It's not for the fucking family. And I'm sympathetic to that. But there's a killer out there on the loose. And by the way, the male in the hospital may not make it. So we have a right. Don't you? You have the right. What's the scene in Jaws? When Sheriff Brody's on the dock and the widow comes up and says, you know, I just learned that there was a young girl. She's the one the kid was killed on the raft. There was a young girl killed out there. And you didn't tell anybody. You said it was a boating accident. And they, you know, the mayor, Larry, who's such a great character, says, you know, she's wrong, Martin. And, you know, Roy Schneider says, no, she's not. I mean, you know, no, she's not. Exactly, Jennifer. That's what I don't get these people. If you lost a family member, what the fuck are you doing here? No one talk about it. I can't. This Sharon Cesaro. Well, you know, if the family doesn't want it, John, you gotta listen. I'm not knocking on their fucking door. I'm not. We're not a 19-year-old girl, and that's a nice story about her. She was graduating from Shea High School last year. That's an innocent life taken. Who are these people? Let her rest. Let her rest. Don't talk about it. Listen, and and Lynn Miller's right. Part of this, we already know the answer. Part of this is, it's obviously naive, but they think that if you don't talk about it, maybe it didn't happen. And they're not alive. Folks, I want to be very clear. Channel 10 was the first one. Channel 10 went with the name. I didn't do it first. I'm not getting lumped in with that. Listen, and of course, it would be very, very difficult for the family. They should not be, I can't imagine. Their life is forever changed. certainly not for the better. I have been in court. Yes, 100%. It would be nice. Or how about the fact that they're still out there? I have been when the families give the witness impact statements, and it's very difficult to listen to as they look at the person and say, "You ruined my life. When you did the following, you ruined my life." Very, very difficult. But I come back to, what kind of society, or so a 19-year-old girl, that one is innocently shot and killed, and we're not supposed to say a word. As this Sharon Cesano. Well, you got to respect the family's wishes. They don't want any coverage. They don't want talking about it. Let me explain something. When you have a family member, when you have someone shot and killed, and the killer is still out there, this isn't a private family matter. I don't know the family. Obviously, like everyone else, I feel terrible for the family. But this notion of everyone just, there's Troy. What a great job Troy did yesterday. That train video. He's a hero. I owe him a mug. Of course it's terrible. But so we're supposed to just pretend, just go about your business. Pretend it didn't happen. I'll give the other one. You can't believe the fucking messages I'm getting with this goon. This guy. We're the only ones that have his photo up. And the family is as obnoxious as you can imagine. Thank God no one has ever said the two of us resemble each other. Now, never. She doesn't know who it was. Let me go back. I, many times, and never not try. Oh, you know what? I meant to put the, oh, shit. All right. I meant to send a link if the subscribers want to join us tonight. I will do that going forward. If there's a friend of hers that wants to join, I would have them on. Folks, I admittedly, granted, I mean, obviously I'm in the news, but you know who it was. All right, I misread that. I thought it was, I don't know who it was. Well, see, here's the problem. The problem is that's not the right answer. Well, it's the police to not tell us. Yeah, I thought so. Terrible. Look at that, joking around. He does. Arlene is right. Yep. Not for her, for him. Yeah. We are the only ones that have his photo. He shared a video on TikTok. I didn't say it's his voice, but he shared a video of a state police car, and then the audio for the video was saying, please God, flip that vehicle over. For all of this business of these individuals that are trying to say that, it was, and I've been getting the messages, and they're so repulsive. It was a terrible accident, and, no one should talk about it. And, I have no idea who this guy is, this Juan Arkilly. We do know that he didn't stay at the scene, and he was arrested. So that's Casey, her father, state police captain, her brother, a trooper. I heard from a good source that it's very possible she had a state police sticker on the vehicle, and this goon saw it and then runs her off 295. That was the accident. So, I have another video of him on TikTok that I will put out. Not tonight, not today, but yes. So, but there's been no comment on the lost 23 years old riding on 295, and this fucking goon runs her off the road, and then the judge lets him out on bail. Folks, do you understand? We are under attack, and more importantly, our children are under attack. So, this obviously, and people always ask me, no, I don't think I know. I don't think I know the family. I don't think I don't think I've ever had any dealings with, um, I don't think so, her dad or her brother. So, but you have the two of them, two young lives lost, 23 and 19. And I am telling you that I believe that these are the types of stories that are elected officials, not leaders. I think these are the types of stories that they should be talking about. So, of course, can you imagine her family? She's 23. It's the day before Thanksgiving. That goon ran her off the road. I got the filthiest message from one of his family members, as you can imagine, like filled with F-bombs and stuff like that. And just so you understand, I don't go back and forth. I don't have time for that foolishness. I don't. I just delete it and move on. Here's what we do know about this guy. He didn't stop. Some people did stop. Some people did stop, and they came to her aid. Some other drivers. He didn't. And I don't see all the comments, but what would make him cut off her? Well, we already saw there's a video that he shows how much he hates the Rhode Island State Police, and she just happens to have a Rhode Island State Police sticker on the back of the vehicle, and the next thing you know, here comes Brutus along. So these people, that is so unfair to him. Unfair. You know what's unfair is the family of the 23-year-old finding out and having to go to the hospital the day Thanksgiving Eve because she had this on the back. And these are stickers, by the way. These are stickers. You can buy them online. I see them. I know some people give them out. They give them out at different events and things like that. It's legal, but there's another one I've seen. They're stickers. So, but this business, he did. They had to arrest him the next day when they located him. Now, I want to touch on, Cindy, what's wrong with these judges? I'm glad she asked that. Where do the judges come from? The State House. Who controls the State House? The Democrat Party. So that's where the judges come from. So thank God that people stopped. Obviously, I think of poor Olivia Passaretti. That was New Year's. That was New Year's Day, 2022. The holidays for the Passarettis, I don't know how they're an enjoyable time, because every New Year's they have to relive what happened with poor Olivia. And it's so awful. But I don't hear. Oh, wait a minute. Oh, wow. Okay. 1 second. I don't hear enough of our elected officials talking about it. If there is, all right, she's asking a question. Is there video of him running her off the road? Yes, everyone has it, and they're withholding it and not showing it to you. I'll say this. Are you saying like we don't know if he did? There's eyewitnesses. There are a lot of DOT cameras. Is Catherine asking like, unless you have video of him, he's not guilty? Or are you just saying that maybe you missed it? There's a lot of ways that they can track it down. You have flock cameras. You have DOT cameras. Remember, this just happened. So I consider that a little bit of people like jumping ahead. So what was her name? Here's another picture of her. Her friend sent me. Casey. I want to make sure I'm afraid I should say I'm not pronouncing her name correctly, but I'll spell it. Casey Bassani, Bassignani, Casey Bassiani of Johnston. Brother a trooper, father a captain. My point is, so much of this has not been put out. They're still looking for more evidence. They're still looking for more evidence. So they were still requesting from the public. There's multiple ways now. The ACLU is trying to get rid of the flock cameras. So I know, but I'm just asking. That is a little like you're asking because you don't think he's responsible, or I don't like the alternative of, I'm just curious to see it. You've seen some of the photos. There's certainly coverage of it. I'm just asking. I know, as opposed to what? As this case proceeds, as the judge said, we'll see you at the end of February. I think this story is mortifying. And Wednesday is a busy day on the roads with traffic. I don't know exactly what happened, but we do know that he was located and charged and initially held overnight, and then the judge let him go. As far as the judges, I know it is. You're right, Michael. It is true. You can't believe. I'll tell you one thing about that guy. He's got a lot of friends and defenders because I'm hearing from all of them. Stop talking about it. Don't talk about it. Greatest guy. Trying to come up with, that's not his voice in the TikTok. I don't get the whole thing. The judge released it and be a judge. If it wasn't that judge, it would be another one. I think a lot of people, Danny, are starting to realize this is one of the problems in, let me see that. Okay. Could be. Saw a guy in the highway, 6 cameras on his car. Everyone stay away from him. I don't know. It's well, a lot of people did. Yep. A lot of people then saw it and witnessed it and then cooperated. That's the other thing, and cooperated. So, which is what people should do, which then comes back to, then when you get the mayor of Central Falls is not calling for people to come forward that have information with what happened with the 19-year-old who was murdered on Saturday night. And I actually read her statement twice, and I even posted it on the website. And I don't understand that, because I'm telling you, if I was the mayor of Central Falls, I would hold a press conference and say, I'm putting people on notice. You have 24 hours for people to hand over who is responsible. Now, we have no reason to believe this girl, Nisha, 19 years, did, anything wrong. And it's so horrible for the family and for her friends and her siblings. But again, not to be a broken record here, I am amazed at the people that post and send messages, don't talk about it, like that woman I was mentioning earlier. The mayor of Central Falls put out a statement about, well, this gun violence has to stop and blah, blah, blah. And we're going to find, there's someone out there who took a life. And but the other person, the male that was shot, is in very serious condition. And if anything, even if they survive, there's no guarantee that that person lives a normal life after that. Many years ago, Bill Malinowski, who was a writer with the Providence Journal, put out a great piece, The Cost of a Bullet. And he didn't talk about the people that die, it's the people that get shot and live, and then their life is, terribly altered. But the mayor of Central Falls put out a statement with the police and said, this is Mayor Rivera. My heart's with this young woman's family, her loved ones, everyone's grieving this heartbreaking incident. I'm also praying for the recovery of the young man who was injured. He was shot. Gun violence has no place in Central Falls. Even one incident like this is one too many. I want to thank our Central Falls Police Department for their quick response, as well as our partners in Pawtucket, Cumberland, Lincoln, who assisted on scene, said Mayor Rivera. The pain of the tragedy is being felt across multiple communities as we work to ensure the impact and support they need. Continue to keep your thoughts and prayers navigate the unimaginable. What I'm talking about is there's no mention of whoever committed this heinous crime will be punished and held accountable to the highest extent. You also have, now they mentioned communities of Pawtucket, where I think she lived in Pawtucket, or at least is from Pawtucket, because I know she graduated from Shea. Cumberland and Lincoln, they had to be called to the scene because there was, chaos breaking out where this happened. So there's JB. Jonathan Barrett joins us, folks. There he is. This business, and this business of let her rest. Don't talk about it. Just like that woman was saying, I think we should be talking about both of them. And unless someone can find it, I can't find one elected official that is saying on Wednesday afternoon, we lost this 23-year-old life. And then Saturday night, we lost a 19-year-old. And I am telling you, no one is talking about that. And I don't get it. This business of, I think people, maybe they have a fundamental misunderstanding of rest in peace. Like I get the whole speak no ill of the dead. I get that. And obviously there's such a fucking uproar over the coverage of the Bucket West member. So people trying to, what does that have to do? And But listen, right now, the person, the coward, the person that took her life is out there. And we had a prank earlier, but I'm sure there are people that know who did it. That's what I find it repulsive, the whole street mentality. Don't snitch. You don't say anything. You don't talk to the police. You go to the police and you contact the police with the information that you have. I also noticed that Mayor Rivera didn't say that. I think it's a weak statement. the mayor of Central Falls. I do. I think it's a weak statement. I don't think it's a strong statement. You know, we had Erica, just 24-year-old girl killed in Central Falls, not even a 19-year-old girl killed in Central Falls. I'm telling you, much like with Erica, I think now Mayor Rivera is a progressive and a Democrat, and I fully get her and our brains don't match. But I think you send, it should have been, if anyone, sees someone that's in a tough situation, if someone sees someone that they think is a prisoner or eating out of a dumpster or forced to be in a diaper, that should have been a strong statement. And I think the mayor of Central Falls should say, if there's anyone that has information on the death of this 19-year-old girl, they need to come forward to the police and come to us before we find you. And I think it should go much harder. I would do like you have the 24 hours. Yep, 100%. Just terrible, folks. So I don't know where it goes. But I don't, I mean, I think you do talk about it. By the way, the Bucket West member, the person that committed that, and I've learned a lot more about that, but the person that committed that, they're still out there. Granted, it happened in New York, but they're still out there. Like it's foreign to me, the people. Like, we didn't get that so much with Erica, and I want to commend her friends like Kendra and others that wanted to talk about her, that wanted to draw attention to it, and how many people, we went from not knowing anything about these people to we know probably too much about these individuals. But I don't hear that voice. I didn't hear any, to just say gun violence. I didn't, no one that I'm aware of held a press conference today. No one, the mayor could have put out a strong statement. The Mayor Rivera could have been visibly angry in saying, I demand that person come forward and we get an answer on this. I mean, the silence is deafening. Folks, you can't just then say, gun violence won't be I mean, what does that mean? Gun violence won't be tolerated. I want to repeat, the mayor of Central Falls, Mayor Rivera, at no point in her statement does she even mention that there's someone out there who did this. And I'm not going to speculate. I don't know who's involved. I don't know anyone that knows who's involved, how this came about. I've heard the name of the 19-year-old or the male. Yeah, he's 19. I haven't released that. He's in the hospital. Very, very serious. I mean, gunshot wounds. I am telling you, there is room. I think there's a lane for someone who will speak up. I think so. Maybe I'm wrong. Who will speak up. I mean, we need the law and order. Did Governor McKee say anything about Erica? No. Did Governor Dan McKee issue any statement about this 19-year-old shot and killed Saturday night and something? Nothing. Zero. Did he say anything about nothing? He issued a statement today, even though he's still on vacation, attacking Aaron Gukian, the Republican who announced he's running for, I mean, you tell me where his priorities are. I think it should have been more. I think there should be a focus on this. And I want to be very clear. I recognize, much like her family, I understand that some people say the family's grieving. Of course they are. The family is devastated. The family is going through a traumatic, horrible, something they shouldn't have to. But news moves on. So for all those people that say, like, don't talk about it, don't let them rest. Let them do not talk about that. Let them stories move on. The news cycle is so fast. And on top of that, number one, her killer, Naisha, is still out there. And her killer was let out on bail. I see more comments defending the people responsible. Actually, we don't know right now. We don't know who's responsible for her death. We don't. So, yep. You know what else I want to just mention is someone asked me, is this gang related? I have no idea. But whoever did this, whoever took her life, I mean, you want to talk about like a real fucking coward. A 19-year-old girl who, by all accounts, certainly, remember, they take two lives. They take the life she had, and then they take the life she would have had. But I don't know. Was it a female that pulled the trigger? Was it a male? Whoever it is, the fact that some people know who did it and they don't say anything, I'm telling you, I find it unrelatable. And what I also notice is there's no one, Mayor Rivera's not, coming forward to speak to the public, say, like, nothing, like it didn't happen. Everybody just carry on. Everyone, you know what? It's a private matter with the family. Just move on. Let's pretend it didn't. Like, I don't get that. I don't get that. There's a huge disconnect. The notion of people, and I was hearing it with the Bucket Weston, let him rest. He's not taking a fucking nap. What? Many times, and Channel 12 will do, we're doing a story, and, it was the murder, and it's still a cold case, and they interview the sister and the mother, and, no one's talking about it, and, the person who killed my brother, a lot of times, is still out there, and when I talk to the police, there were people that know about these crimes, and they don't say anything, and it's so twisted. It is. Now, as far as this, like, I have no idea what happened on 295. So, but I'm not going to get into this whole thing that somehow I don't see all the comments. Obviously, I don't have time. But I saw people like, oh, now it's like against the law to tailgate somebody. Well, it's a lot more than that, obviously. And I come back to many times when we cover a scene, the police will go out of their way to say the driver stayed on site and fully cooperated with police. The police did say that he basically ran her off the highway, ran her off 295 in daylight, and then just continued wherever he was in a hurry to go. I am telling you, that is just, thank God there were people that were there. What if it, well, I don't know. I mean, I would think because of DOT cameras, they do have ways to track vehicles. And again, there's many times we don't know everything right away. And I think some people don't, maybe they don't, and there's nothing wrong with that, but they sometimes almost like don't get that they think like everything is put out at once. Like with the Brian Walsh case, we learned today that when Brian Walsh met with police, he said that he like went to the bathroom, he came back and his wife was deceased in their bed. And then he didn't want to frighten the boys, so he just decided to get rid of the body. I mean, that's his excuse. And my point is, today was the first time we've heard that, and the police have had that. So I'm just trying to, you don't get everything. Witnesses to the crash stated a Honda Accord traveling in the high-speed lane was forced off the roadway by another vehicle. The operator of the second vehicle, Juan Arquilla, was later located and taken into custody, but he's charged driving to endanger, death resulting. Held overnight, and then they let him out on bail. I'm not going to keep going on about it, but I'm telling you, I think I know it is, Trisha. I don't understand why that our public officials did not hold, not one. I mean, to me, this was a very violent weekend in Rhode Island, where you had the death of two innocent young lives taken. And I think it's important. I know it's important, number one. Number two, you have a killer on the loose. So I don't understand or relate to that mindset in any way, shape, or form. Like zero, you know. As far as what happened with the 23-year-old, listen, we're not going to keep doing it, but I come back to like what do people, so people think you just say when these things happen, so you have 2 lives lost. The first one, and I've seen comments, Forever 19, prayers, and that's it. How about who did this? How about who's responsible? How about who saw something and didn't say anything? And then, listen, admittedly, I don't set the rule, but we do move on. And then the same thing with this girl, the 23-year-old. He's not back in court till February, if he even shows. But people's reaction is, oh, that's too bad. Just don't talk about it, though. Let them rest in peace. Listen, let's play this out a little bit. What about, as a result of what happened, someone says, I think I'm going to be a little more cautious on 295. I think, wow, I didn't realize that. Maybe they put up a barrier so she can't run off the median into a tree. Here's what I know, though, folks. I mean, nothing is accomplished by we then just pretend it didn't happen. So I don't know what happened with the girl in Central Falls. But to just say, Forever 19, fly high with the angels. But let her, and there's no, what? Don't you find out how did that happen? Who showed up with a weapon? Why were they there? Who did it? They should be arrested, go to jail for a very long time. And, maybe someone says, boy, if there are people like that around, I'm not going to go into that neighborhood. Or maybe, I don't want to speculate because we really don't know what happened. But I'm just saying, I think a lot of people treat some of these things like they're acts of God. God works a mysterious way. No, God did not. And I want to be very clear about that. And many of you that follow know that's like a pet peeve I have. We are not, who are we to question? God took her. No, God didn't take her. God didn't take her. No, God's mortified. God was there trying to comfort the first responders who were trying to save a life. God's what? No, it was not God's will. No, it was a reckless, selfish, murderous act. Whoever committed that needs to be held responsible. You know, a 19-year-old is shot, and you have people saying, hey, God needed her in heaven. No, God did not need her in heaven. God wanted her here on earth. She sounds like she was living a very productive life. We're not puppets on a string. God, that irritates me. I can't believe I see people post this stuff. What? God's will? Sometimes our Lord is confused. No, had nothing to do. Oh, now we're blaming. Now it's God's fault. Had nothing to do with it. What are these people talking about? Who thinks that way? I'll say this. These people, they say things that never pop into my mind. What? 23-year-old run off a 295. Thanksgiving Eve. Hey, God's will. God needed her in head. No, wrong. Stop talking. Stop talking and stop commenting. Wrong. No, that was a selfish act by a goon. And for whatever reason, I'm the only one showing his photo. Other than I know the obvious, which is the rest of the media. They're like, they don't work weekends and so forth. It is. It's terribly sad. Yes. But I'll tell you, Trisha, I don't expect the family maybe to be up to it. I don't. But I do expect the mayor to be up to it. I do expect the mayor to be up to it. I do expect someone in elected office to be up to it. Now, folks, I don't talk about it all the time. Many times when we cover these stories, for whatever fucking reason, we get criticized a lot, and sometimes more than others. I don't put it out on my sleeve, but when Maya was killed, it was through us talking about it, by me doing this, that someone was so moved that they put up and offered a $100,000 reward, of which the family and the police said led to people coming forward. So this business of, don't talk about it. I don't believe it. I don't subscribe to it. We did more coverage on Maya than anybody. And I actually did a video prior to when they made the arrest. And it wasn't that far off. And it was actually, for those of you that watched it, it was pretty close to exactly with what happened. So, this whole notion, and we did the Maya story when, yes, thank you, Susan Calderon, awareness. So you have this woman, and I'll post her comment on the subscriber page. Fully shame her. Telling me, don't talk about it. What's her name again? Sharon Cesaro. No, and okay, and I don't talk about that a lot. And the local media didn't give it the play it should have. But there was a $100,000 reward because we did what I call, I just didn't do a passing glance. And then many of you know, with the Charlotte Lester case, we didn't just stay on that. We were very involved in that. And then a lot has come out of that. My coverage was driving Perkins nuts. That's why he attacked me. We did the Michelle Romano case. So I'm very confident with our actions and what we're doing. But one thing I know is this business of like keep it a secret, let them rest. God's will, God acts in mysterious ways. Nothing is solved that way. For people that sometimes say, enough, let the police. I'm not interfering with the investigation in any way. At the end of these, the police thanked me publicly with the Maya Brophy Behrman case. Obviously, the family and police, thanked me in our efforts with Charlotte Lester. Michelle Romano's family continues to say we were the only ones that took that case seriously and gave it the exposure it needed. So I'm pretty comfortable with it. But I think this notion that people have of, and these other people that sometimes I think they're speaking, on behalf of, like, they speak on behalf of the family. I saw that someone had posted that there are people out there that that did, or somebody did like a GoFundMe for the guy from Pawtucket that was killed in New York City and had nothing to do with the family. All right, tonight's Star Senders. Thank you to Jane Rice, and I enjoy those pictures of Buddy. There's Jonathan Barrett. The big guy is back. Thank you, Sue. And there's Garney. You don't have to do that. Robin and Kara. There's our friend Chris. I know. So, yes. Hey, I don't have to go through. Who was all over the Kylie case? I mean, come on. Listen, how many of you know so much about the Central Falls case with Erica? Because that's how that to me is effective coverage. What if we had just followed that with Erica? Don't talk about it. Oh, yeah, it was God's will that she was trapped and killed in our apartment in Central Falls. I don't think so. But folks, I think it's important. I know it's important. And admittedly, listen, we learn a lot by doing it. So we learn a lot by doing it. Yesterday, I worked all day. It was supposed to be a day off. I had family in town. For those of you that follow Fox, I'm very proud. Kate DiPietro was on a Mercy ship. That's how she spent last week in West Africa on a Mercy ship with the Fox crew. Very, very proud of her with that. But Jacqueline was in town. But I worked all day yesterday because there was a lot of news. A tremendous amount of news. And I'm very happy with the progress that we're making with the website. And I realize it's a little challenging, but just scroll down. Thank you very much, JB. There's Chuck. He's out in Bellingham, Washington. I love that. I'm telling you, we learn a lot by that, much like the Kylie thing. But folks, I'm not. I am at a loss to try to explain. Here's my final thing. I'll be critical. I'll contact her office tomorrow, the mayor of Central Falls. I will. I'll give her a chance to defend herself if she wants to come on. I think there should be a strong statement about who took this life. I do. And the more people that know about it, there's more awareness. I know how horrible would it be that someone, a 19-year-old child, loses their life and everybody just goes on like business as usual. No talk about it, nothing, as if it happens all the time. I think it'd be terrible. I will contact the mayor. I think they should. I think she should speak out. I think it should be a much stronger message. Big time. All right. Did you, Chuck? I didn't know that. Oh, okay. Yes. Yeah. Kate was in Sierra Leone, West Africa, on a Mercy ship. She's so good with the kids. I'm so proud of her. So, all right, folks, listen, I am telling you, you know, we, whether it's Olivia Passaretti, I'm looking for someone to stand up for these young lives that are under attack and being lost. You can't listen to those voices. And I assure you, as a Roman Catholic, that is not God's will. You know, God doesn't, what did someone send me a message? God doesn't want you to talk about it. That is moronic. No. All right. We're going to end it. We're going to be back tomorrow at 1:00. And it's also going to be a stormy day. So we'll probably be live tomorrow night as well. So, but I want to enjoy the Patriots like everyone else. Thank you to all our star senders. Thank you, everybody. Say a prayer for the families of these two young lives that we lost.